Cowgirls won game one. A terrific win we'll tell you about in a moment. Hello again, everyone. I'm Casey Kendrick along with 20-year-plus vet in college softball, Chris Dill. Very special guest coming up at the top of the second inning. But Chris Dill, we were treated to this first one. What a game it was.
A true pitcher's duel. Nebraska jumped out ahead on the RBI single by Kamazin. And then Core robs the home run in center as the Cowgirls look to tie it up. And they eventually get on with Tia Warsup reached on the error by the second baseman.
It was reviewed, it was close, but she was safe.
And then she advances to second on the wild pitch, and that's critical with the speed of Warsup in that ball game. And then eventually comes around to score on the RBI single by Schneidmiller. In the bottom of the seventh, the Cowgirls look to win the game, and Hoffman has a different approach. He hoses Booker at the plate. That sets up the bottom of the 11th.
It did indeed. When Rosie Davis sent that thing over the batter's eye, immediately knew it. She walked it off, and the Cowgirls got a 2-1 win. It was a great win, and when you look at what those two, again, Jordy 7 innings, Ruby 10 innings, that was a treat, what we saw in the circle.
Yeah, it was two legends in the game right now, pitching in a pitcher's duel. And today, another beautiful day in Stillwater. It's game two. Should be fun between two great teams.
Looking forward to it. The Cowgirls now 14-4 on the season. Nebraska 13-5. Batting averages, good. Runs per game, very good. ERAs, also very good. So, a little bit of win today. Which of those numbers will give way? Both teams have played extremely well. Going to be a lot of fun. It's the Cowgirls hosting the number 4 Nebraska Cornhuskers in Stillwater. It's Big 12 softball. The Cornhuskers in their pinstripes today, and we welcome you back to Stillwater, Oklahoma, as we take a look at the lineup for the Cornhuskers. From Kamazin, Farrell, Hoffman, who had that great game, a great throw in right field last time up. Kuzak, Toms, Core, Jensen, and Lauren Kamazin will get things started. And Casey Hoffman went 3 for 4 in 3 singles in that game. And let's take a look at the starting pitcher for the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. That would be Riley Crandall.
Riley Crandall, 6-0 on the year with a 3.25 ERA from New Mexico with 15 strikeouts, 2.1 innings, and finally healthy and pitching well. Pitched yesterday, went 5 innings against Southeast Missouri State. Only did not give up a run, only 2 hits, and had 6 strikeouts.
You and I talked about it. You mentioned this in the last broadcast, but, you know, I think we're seeing now from Riley Crandall what they thought they would see when they brought her in last year. Of course, didn't start well, had the injury, missed most of the season, but has come back strong this year and is off to a terrific start, and she'll get the start in the circle here for the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. Another beautiful afternoon, lots of wind blowing out right to left, and we could see some more action offensively. It was a 2-1 win for Oklahoma State before, and as I mentioned, coming up top of the second inning, we have got a fantastic guest color analyst going to be with us throughout the afternoon, and we're excited about that. Is Jordy Fromm, the first baseman, not pitching today. She is just playing first, but she will lead things off, and again, she leads this team with power. She's had multiple home runs over the course of the season, so she's got power right out of that leadoff spot, and has been fantastic for Coach Ravel in her 34th years. The first one, strike that one off the plate, 1-1.
Jordy actually hit a home run yesterday in 3 games in Stillwater, hitting .500.
Having a pretty good weekend as the Oklahoma State Tulsa Invitational continues. The Cowgirls coming off a couple of wins over Southeast Missouri State yesterday. Nebraska got some wins as well. They'll play today, and then they'll play one more time tomorrow. A split 3-game series between the Cowgirls and Nebraska. That one is hit, and that one is just past Jones, and so Nebraska will start with a single.
Jones playing deep in that hole, and that ball chopped up the middle. First base hit of the game.
Yeah, it looked like she was playing a little to the line as well. Opened that spot up just a shade, and Fromm able to poke it through there for the first hit of the ball game. And Nebraska trying to make something happen here early in this one. That one is fouled off as Hannah Kamazin, the left fielder, just outside the line, and she's batting .371 out of Valley, Nebraska. 5'7" senior. Couple of home runs on the year, 11 RBI. Didn't have a great game in the first one against Oklahoma State. The left fielder hits that one right to Rosie. She drops it, but she's able to get it and gets the force and the double play, and that's a great job right there by Rosie to have the recognition after she dropped it to go to second, turn that into 2.
Just the wherewithal to touch second and complete the double play.
Just a sophomore, but we saw what she was able to do in game 1. She was the hero. Quite honestly, Schneidmiller should be one of the heroes as well. Tia Warsop should be one of the heroes. Got on base. Schneidmiller got that tying run to get it into extras, and then Rosie hitless through 4. Sent one over the fence and gave the Cowgirls the win as Jessie Farrell, the catcher out of Henderson, Nevada, batting .333. She went 1 for 4 in game 1, double and a walk. And the base running threat over right now for Nebraska here in the top of the first, with 2 gone and an 0-2 count to Farrell.
I thought Farrell played pretty well behind the plate for the Cornhuskers in game 1.
Well, that throw behind that she got to get Warsop early in that ball game, she showed she has got a cannon back there as well. We've seen that from the Cowgirl shortstop, and Aubrey Jones. She has shown us early in the season how strong her arm is as well. A lot of terrific defense in game 1, along with the pitching. That one off the plate.
So Crandall stayed ahead of the first 3 batters, kind of trying to work that zone, kind of establish it early here.
Count 2-2. And that one is hit to Jones. Bobble on the glove, the throw, and not in time. That's a great job getting down the line by Farrell. Again, we saw Jones nearly make that throw across the diamond just a little late, but that gives you an idea just how good that arm is.
Took a tough hop on her, a little short hop there. She did pick it up and fire across, but a tough play. She was kind of set up in that 5-6 hole.
It's already a couple of singles for Nebraska to start the ball game. And Riley Crandall getting an opportunity here just has been really good for Oklahoma State early on. As you said, healthy, and that's been the key for her. That one is hit to Jones. She'll step on the bag, and that'll end it as Casey Hoffman, the right fielder, grounds out to short. And that will bring an end to the top half of 1. We go to the bottom of 1. It's Stillwater. Beautiful afternoon. Come back. Great softball straight ahead for ESPN Plus. Right there, the Cowgirls move to the bottom of the first, and they will be at the bats. And here the way the Cowgirls will hit it around. J.L. Austin's been really good, batting north of 300. Followed by Rosie Davis, Claire Tim, Hassler, Godwin, the first baseman. Aubrey Jones batting 400. She will be in there along with Schneidmiller. Jaden Jones and Tia Warsop will round it off for Oklahoma State. And we're back to it here. Get the defensive lineups coming up in just a bit. And let you know that Alexis Jensen is in the circle. First pitch, a little low, but tell us about Jensen.
Jensen, a freshman, and what a year she's having. 6-2. She's a big-time competitor. She wants the ball. She lives in that 64-65 range. Curve, rise, drop, changeup.
She came in relief in game 1, pitched 3 innings in that game, and then the first batter in the bottom of the 11th was Rosie Davis, and that was the game winner. But again, it was a great mix-up from what we saw in Jordy Fromm. First off, coming from the other side, the lefty, and she threw very, very well. But Davis had the confidence, as we see Austin, the freshman out of Owasso, Oklahoma. 306 hitter. She was 2 for 5 with a double single and a stolen base in the first game between these two teams. That was high and inside. Count goes even at 2-2.
You know, both these squads were able to see both pitchers in game 1, so a little interesting to see how that matchup is today after getting a good look at Jensen Thursday night.
2-2 count here to Austin as she fouls that one out of play down towards the Cowgirl bullpen. Out of play, and we'll do 2-2 all over. Again, we had a record crowd, 1,802 to watch the opener. It's the largest opening crowd in Cowgirl history. And another terrific afternoon, and some Nebraska fans making their way down from Lincoln, and a lot of Oklahoma State fans here as well, as J.L. Austin, the center fielder, swing and a miss, strikeout number 1.
Strikeout number 72 this season for Jensen.
Talk more about Jensen in a moment, but let's talk about the next batter, Rosie Davis. 0 for 4. She was hitless until then. She sounded the horn and gave the Cowgirls the win over the number 4 team in the country in Nebraska, and did it with basically one eye. Got the, we're at the point where you have a one shining moment for basketball in the highlight. Well, she had a one shiner moment the other night, and thought that might get at least a little chuckle. A one shiner moment the other night. Man, can't see out of that left eye hardly, but she left the yard, and that was a fantastic way to win it for Oklahoma State. Nebraska, again, loving the competition and trying to answer that back today, as that one skips in there for a ball. Count 2-1.
She is seeing the ball well. She's on an 11-game hitting streak coming into today.
See, in basketball, they play that song One Shining Moment for the highlights. And then she had as a shiner, so it was a one shiner moment. Moving on. Split 3-game series with Nebraska. Give the two teams credit. Want the competition. It's why we're willing to play 3 games, even though this will be a 6-game weekend for Oklahoma State. That one's fouled off. Count full, 3-2 to Davis.
Cowgirls wearing their turquoise today.
They are. It's N7 day. Oklahoma State wearing its Nike N7 turquoise jerseys. OSU proud partner with Nike and its N7 project. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss, and another strikeout for Jensen. OSU men's and women's basketball programs, as we take a look at this one. A little behind it there. Along with softball, proudly wear turquoise uniforms for select games to honor Native American and Aboriginal heritage. The color turquoise represents harmony, friendship, and fellowship in the Native American culture. Along with OSU, 8 other schools participate in the initiative, and every time I wear my N7 Cowgirl softball cap, I always get tons of compliments on that hat. It's a unique look, and Kenny Gajewski, among many things, he was one of the first to say, hey, can we do that in softball as well? It's a really cool thing, and one of the first teams in the country on the softball front to be able to do that.
Which would make sense in Oklahoma. I mean, with all the Native American tribes, everything that's going on, pretty much every sport has some element of it, and growing. I know football's looking at options, and I know basketballs have it.
At the time, I think we had 3 Native American players for Oklahoma State, and he's like, hey, why would we not want to do that here? And you're exactly right. Of course, across the way, we've got Staley and Tyler Hurd plays for the Oklahoma State Cowgirl basketball team. Claire Tim, the right fielder, fouls that back into the backstop. 2-2 count here. Trying to become the first Cowgirl base runner this afternoon. First 2 batters struck out, and Claire Tim looking at a 2-2 coming up here. Nebraska out of the Big Ten. Used to be a Big 8 and a Big 12 foe. Moved out many years ago, and of course the Cowgirls now in the Big 12.
You know, with Jensen, her big strength continues to mix the speeds, and coming from that left side, worked a lot of corners the last 2 days.
Lefty-lefty matchup, and she gets another strikeout. So Jensen retires the side. We go to the top of 2, 0-0. But coming up, Very special guest, color commentator, going to join us for the remainder of the game. Excited about that. 0-0 here in Girardi. 15-year Major League career as a catcher, 14 seasons as a manager, has a 4-time World Series champ with the Yankees, 3 as a player, once as a manager. More importantly, he is the father of Lena, who is a standout freshman for Oklahoma State women's basketball. Joe, it is a pleasure to have you with us here in the booth.
Yeah, it's great to be here. What an atmosphere. The weather's fantastic. The crowd. Love the people out in the outfield. They were tailgating earlier. It doesn't get any better than this.
Great stuff, and there's a good look at that crowd that's enjoying this one here. And we've got much to talk about with Joe, and very excited about him being here in the booth. And that one is fouled out of play. As for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, that is the shortstop, Ava Cusack. You have a young lady out of Broomfield, Colorado. Listen, it didn't take you long to watch a couple of games in the Cowgirls and kind of get a feel. And I think I get a sense that you're impressed with what Nebraska and what Oklahoma State have been able to do here already.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the maturity of both teams, how they play the game. They play on both sides. They run the bases extremely well. If you're not getting your hits, you're taking, hits away from the other club. I was really impressed with Ruby, how she kept the ball on the ground the other night in a really close game. And
great job by Rosie Davis. Throws the glove out and makes the throw. Out one as Cusack grounds out to third. And, Kenny Gajewski is the one who really said, hey, let's, if it's possible, man, I'd love to have him come talk to the team. I don't think it took long. I know it didn't from him because he told me to go, man, Joe is a great guy, and I love listening to the knowledge. But I think I felt that reciprocal side of that for you as well when you were talking to him about what he's all about and what this program's all about.
Yeah, Kenny is about winning, but Kenny is about being an example first and then a coach second, which I was really impressed with. And the other thing that I was extremely impressed with was his coaching staff, how he has, 2 ladies here that played very recent. And one was a star pitcher, one was a star hitter and infielder, and how they're able to share their experiences, both professional players. And it's like they can really relate to the girls because they're not that far removed. So he has surrounded himself with great people.
Toms, the right fielder, kicks that into left field to Warsup. And the other side, true, right? I mean, you wanted to go talk to Coach Ravel, and I know she loved it. And I mean, you guys started sitting down talking ball, and she immediately started throwing some other stuff out there and how she was familiar with you. And I mean, what's not to like about that young lady?
Well, you think about a coach that's been there 34 years, it just tells you that she's done things the right way, not only as a coach, but also as a mentor. And I think about my experiences in college and how positive they were. And Ron Wellman was my head coach and then became the longtime AD at Wake Forest. He was my mentor. He was in my wedding, and I still call him for advice all the time. Yeah. And that's what you want from a coach.
Well, that's what these two have been as mentors to these young ladies and to these young coaches as well. And there's a lot of joy both teams you see play with that as you look down at Coors, the center fielder, 1-1 here. Riley pitching well. And again, we're going to talk to Joe. I know Chris is going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to ask a lot of questions and talk about what we see out here and get to that in just a little bit. But a 1-2 pitch, 2 gone. Nobody on for Nebraska. Still a scoreless ball game here. Nebraska did manage a couple of hits. Now they're going to call one an error. So 1 hit, 1 error for the Cowgirls. And there is a inside pitch, catches the corner, and the inning is over. Much more with Joe Girardi and Chris Dill and myself from Stillwater. We'll continue with Big 12 softball on ESPN+. This is what the Cornhuskers did yesterday.
Yeah, Nebraska took care of business over in Tulsa, beating South Dakota State 8-1, and then coming up in the later game, winning 9-1 in 6 against Tulsa. It's tough. They actually hit the ball really well yesterday.
And for the Cowgirls, they had a big day here in Stillwater, taking 2 from Southeast Missouri State. A doubleheader and won both in run rule fashion, 8-0, 9-1. Crandall and Downing had great games there. And Joe, you said you got a chance as we see the Cowgirls leading off here. This is Amanda Hassler. You were kind of watching the game on the plane yesterday.
I was, and then the internet wasn't good enough, so I tuned into the radio and was able to listen. And A young freshman, redshirt freshman, had the walk-off hit in the 6th inning, and they won a doubleheader. It's kind of nice to hear. And I got to believe, you know, you have to guard against the letdown when you have such a big win against Nebraska in extra innings. There also had to be some fatigue yesterday because it was a quick turnaround.
It was indeed, and the Cowgirls, again, got a lot of, you know what, Chris, you and I were talking about that. They were able to play a lot of younger players as that one's found off, but that's the great thing about that matchup yesterday, getting some of those young kids out there, giving them some great reps.
Yeah, no doubt. Both teams were able to play a lot of ladies on their rosters, which, you know, this is final tune-ups before you get into conference play, so it's great for everybody to get a little time before you start getting into these big league series.
Joe, are you a numbers guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I've got a stat for you here in a minute that's going to, I bet even you will be a little shocked when I get to this stat coming up in a moment, as that one gets the count now at 1-2. Hassler started out 0-2. Again, the designated player. She was the designated player. Schneidmiller was behind the dish the first time these two teams met on Thursday. That one is fouled back. So we were talking, you got a chance to talk to the Cowgirl team today, and you know, again, I loved a lot of the message, and again, you can divulge as much or as little as you want about what you told that team, but you really drew in the freshmen and you drew in the leadership and combined what it takes for any ball club to be really good.
Yeah.
That one is fouled, and that's just out of the defensive effort there.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the leadership, because you think about when you look at Oklahoma State, J.C.L. Austin and Aubrey Jones are both freshmen, and they're playing up the middle. And the biggest adjustment is when you come in is, A, you don't know anyone. B, you have to feel comfortable, and you're wondering, can I do this at this level? I know I was really good in high school, and I believe that I can, but can I really do it at this level, at a high level? And I think the leadership of the older players have made the freshmen feel comfortable, and they've all contributed in a big way. And, you know, I look at, you know, J.C.L. Austin on base of 460 plus. I mean, leading off, that's not easy to do.
Well, and the other part of that is, and you even said this, and Kenny Gajewski will say this, and I've heard good coaches say this, that freshman's job is to take your job. My job, as that is a strikeout looking for Hassler, just caught the ball, didn't see it coming through, and let's take a look at this one.
Looked like a little breaking ball. I know they call them curveballs, but to me it's more like a sweeper, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a ton of depth because of, you know, the underarm angle. But yeah, it is a freshman's job to push and push. And I told my daughter, be bold, but be respectful. Go try to take someone's job. That's your job when you come in. And that's what I always told big league players. When you came up, you're a rookie or you're in big league camp and you have a chance, your job is to take someone's job, because if you push them out of a job, that means we just got better, right? And that competition is good for a club when it's inter-competition, because it's going to make you better in the long run.
Carly Godwin went 0 for 4 against Nebraska. She's in there now, the right fielder for the Cowgirls, and the count even to 1-1. And yet you're asking that senior to be a good leader. And so knowing that freshman's trying to take my job, but I'm still taking them under my wings, when that combination happens, that's when you know things are going well.
And by being a good leader, you need to share your knowledge. You need to share like what your experiences are and the struggles that you went through. And I know this isn't easy. And one of the greatest pieces of advice I ever heard Joe Torre say was, never forget how hard it is to play this game.
Wow.
Right?
As that one is hit sharply into right field. Hoffman over there in time for the second out. That was hit crisply, but Hoffman does a good job getting over there for out number 2, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Aubrey Jones, as Hoffman made that play. And 2 gone here. The final thought, not a final thought, but again, and I want to get Chris to jump in here because I know he's got a lot of questions too, but as that one is out, and now again, Aubrey Jones will try to give the Cowgirls their first hit of the day. And that one just misses. You were a 3-time academic All-American. You were a Big Ten player, 3-time Big, and that's probably what most people concentrate on. But these young ladies are student athletes, just like Lena is, and I want to talk about her as well. But That's the part of it. That's the tricky part, right? Trying to maintain your grades and the pressures of class along with what the demands of the sport is. That is not an easy thing to navigate.
I think the best thing that I learned in college, I have an engineering degree, which I've really never used, was time management. And that's why companies love to hire athletes that are successful in both areas, because they know how to manage their time. And
that one is hit up the middle, and Kuzak makes the throw in time. We will talk more about that with Joe, our special guest here as our color analyst. I know I'm having fun. Hope you guys are too. 0-0 here in Stillwater. Far here in Stillwater, 0-0, and the pitcher Alexis Jensen will lead things off for Nebraska.
Jensen stepping in, dual player, tremendous athlete, and we saw her Thursday night really take her cuts and really get after it. And I know Coach is really excited about her potential both in the circle and at the plate. And Joe, you've had a chance to watch her hit. Does she remind you of any players? You've worked with a million players.
Yeah, she is Kyle Schwarber. The only thing is she starts with her hands a little bit higher, but it's the same little tap there, and she stands tall.
And Jaden, and the throw by Jones to Godwin, she can't quite handle it, and Jensen gets to stay on the bags. But so she's got that same look. You told me that Thursday night after the ball game as we take another look at this
I just thought it was uncanny. Slightly open, she just picks her foot up, puts down, lets the ball get deep. And it looks like she's going to hit for a lot of power in her career, like Kyle Schwarber. So I was like, do you know who Kyle Schwarber is? She says, yeah, I used to play with the Cubs. I said, yeah, now he's with the Phillies hitting about 50 homers a year. I said, you remind me of him. She said, well, thank you.
Well, she will reach on an error. They do call that an error, and so she is at first. Bringing the lineup, Lauren Kamendsen will try to turn the order over back to the top to Jordy Fromm. I know it was fun to listen again because Kenny Gajewski is such a fantastic baseball, softball mind. He played softball. That one's hitting the gap, and that is going to be another single. So a threat here for Nebraska in the top of the third with runners at first and second. But the construction of a lineup.
Yes.
Where's that best hitter? Where's the next one? Do you really put somebody at 9 to turn it over? How do you do that? I was enjoying that conversation, and they were really trying to pick your mind.
Yeah, I think you used to really try to do that, but now I think the whole theory is you want your best hitters to hit the most. You want them to get the most at bats. And so, you know, when I was in New York, we had Aaron Judge hitting second because, you know, if he hits third, he probably gets 20 to 30 less at bats during the course of the season. For him, that could mean a lot.
Yeah.
You know, for me, hitting 8th or 9th, it wasn't going to mean much. But
that one is hit into left field, and Warsup showing that speed. Caught it over that left shoulder, out number 1. The runners will stay at home, and Jordy Fromm flies out to left field.
Wow, she can really run and track those fly balls down. I saw her run in the first the other day with the 2 outs in the 7th. I told her, I said, man, you can low fly. Wow.
You told her low fly. The team got a kick out of that because everybody knows she can truly fly. And that'll bring up Hannah Kamendsen, the left fielder, grounded out to second her first time up. And actually grounded into that double play. As it was dropped by Rosie. Rosie picked it up, stepped on second, got the throw to first, so it was the double play, and she'll get an opportunity here with a runner in front in scoring position, 1 on first as well, batting .365 on the season. And the pitch. That one is hit to Jones. Jones to Jones. Jones holds it. Runners on the corners, 2 out. The runner to second is out, and that would be Jensen. Actually, no, Jensen is at third. That was actually Kamendsen who is out at second.
Okay, I know the game is different. What happened to Jordy?
Jordy ended up with did they pinch run for Jordy?
No, she hit a fly ball to left. That's a ball
that's right.
She tracked down.
Yeah. She flied out to left.
I think it's a nice call by Jones in saving the throw to first because Hannah was barreling down the line, really didn't have much of a play at first base. So nice job of not trying to force the issue with a runner at third.
When you got the 2 outs now, that'll bring up the catcher, Jessie Farrell. And that one is, she gets underneath it. Jones coming on. Excuse me, that is Austin in the outfield. Shows the speed, gets the glove, and gets the out. And the Cowgirls out of the jam here in the top of the third. Cowgirls, Nebraska still scoreless. This is Big 12 softball on ESPN+. Joe is a high schooler, but then to come in to have the impact as a freshman, that's a luxury.
And that's how you keep a program being successful year after year, when freshmen are making an impact, and then there'll be sophomore, and you want the next set of freshmen coming to make an impact. And that's just really good recruiting, to know that they can play at this level.
No doubt about it. Great job there. And Audrey Schneidmiller batting .367 is leading things off for the Cowgirls here in the bottom of the third out of Burleson, Texas.
I think her story is fantastic.
And tell me what you know of her story.
So redshirt freshman, plays her sophomore, junior, what would be a redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore, and redshirt junior. And probably could have transferred and got more playing time before that, but she stuck it out. She persevered. And now look at what she has done for this club, tying it up with 2 outs in the 7th inning the other night. She has more hits now than she had any previous year. She's getting a chance to shine, and I love that she stayed with it, that she didn't run. And I think it's a really good message to send. If you persevere, you're going to be successful in life, and we're seeing that. And what a great throw the other day from her niece.
Great job. No, her resilience is outstanding. And again, Hassler is an outstanding offensive player. Boy, look at that one, smoked foul, but that one was about to leave the yard. Okay, so speaking of freshmen, Alpha Tau Omega, you were the president of your frat.
Okay, that's a mistake.
Freshman.
No, that's a mistake.
I hate Wikipedia.
I lived in 600 Lincoln, which was a dorm of about 50 people my freshman year, and was never the president of ATO. So
what?
No.
Oh man.
So
well, is that as bad of a mistake as not is seeing that 10th batter in the lineup?
Well, I was confused. That's why I asked what happened. Samantha Bland is playing third base, but she doesn't get to hit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to the field if I don't get to hit. No chance. The pitcher's hitting and the DP is hitting, so she doesn't get. Sorry, Coach. I need my ABs. That's
why Coach was asking what happened to Fromm. Where'd she go? But that is what happened. Is that one is skipped in the dirt. The count goes full here to Schneidmiller, the leadoff batter in the bottom of the third. A big opportunity for her, and that one skipped in there again, and she'll take it and march on down to first. That's the first walk issued by either. And Chris, that was the phenomenal thing the other day. There was just so few walks with those starting pitchers. Yeah, both pitchers were dialed in and not allowing free bases, and so looks like Oklahoma State going to go for a pinch runner. That's actually the first. Prior to that, Jensen had retired all 6 batters faced, so Schneidmiller getting on, which is awesome, and see if Oklahoma State can make something happen. Schneidmiller, team best 5.56 average, but being disciplined at the plate just to see if Oklahoma State can get something going. Yeah, she had struck out her first 4, in fact. That's what I liked. What I really love what is happening here, because she was dominant the first 4 hitters, and they're starting to make adjustments. We had a hard ball hit to right field by Carly Godwin, and then we had a 6-3 by Aubrey Jones. Now we take, they take a walk. They're starting to see the ball better, and they're starting to get an idea of what she's trying to do to them, and that's adjustments. And as on the other side, that's when I start to worry as I'm managing my pitcher, is they're putting on better and better at-bats, because eventually, if that happens, someone's going to get her. A hitter, talk about the adjustments. What kind of adjustments do you make in-game? Well, I think the biggest thing is communication between the hitters, talking about what do you see? What is she trying to do to you? Early in the game, she was going up and down, and she was actually going in and out a little bit, but she's struggling a little bit with the strike zone. They're seeing more pitches. They're being more patient, and, you can lose the zone a little bit, and it only takes 1 inning, I've noticed in this game,
to really end a game because the pitching is so good on both sides.
Undoubtedly it is. And Jaden Jones, the second baseman, shows bunt, pulls it back, count 1-0 as it misses. So let me ask you, though, as Libby Jacques is the pinch runner at first now for the Cowgirls. But if I can't handle the inside pitch, but the next batter can't handle the outside pitch or is going to chase up anything up high, with the communication, how dialed in is the pitching that, okay, I can communicate with you, but that pitcher's going to go, yeah, whatever he just told you, she just told you, doesn't matter because I know what your weakness is.
Well, they know, but here's the thing, right? Pitchers are going to start to make mistakes as they get a little bit tired, and that's when you take advantage of them.
Great stuff as Ken Joe Girardi, our special guest. Jones lays down the bunt. It's an errant throw. The runner will try to get to third. She's there. The Cowgirls will try to get to second. She's there. Runners at second and third, and nobody out in the bottom of the third.
Well, you always talk about you need to take outs when you're going to get them. And she started to go to first, and then she changed her mind and didn't set her feet and ends up throwing it away. She started to go to first, her feet were set, and then she's going to go towards second base, and she makes an errant throw. And by the center fielder throwing it to third base, you get second and third, and you take away the double play. So they compounded the error with trying to get the runner at third base, and now Oklahoma State is set up for a couple-run inning.
Coach Ravel will come out and we'll talk things over. Obviously not happy with the way that was executed, and the Cowgirls in a great position right now with runners at second and third, nobody out, and Tia Warsop, the left fielder, getting ready to step in there. Is that conversation? And you know, again, you got to remember, and this is the thing, Coach, we all do this, right? You probably have a better understanding than most, but whether it's a rookie or a freshman, in this case a freshman, Jensen needs a little bit of time kind of regroup a little bit. Probably a great visit to the circle. Yeah,
I think sometimes you got to say, give them one, don't give them two, right? Sometimes you can get so worried about giving up the runner at third base that you end up walking it, and then you end up making, give them one, don't give them two. You give them one run, we still have a chance in this game.
There's a half swing and a throw at the plate and out, and Warsop, nobody's at second. She'll slide in there. So the Cowgirls will have Warsop on a fielder's choice, will advance to second, and they still have runners at second and third, but now one out.
And a great play by the first baseman to be able to come up and fire to first in the tag. The catcher, Farrell, trying to block the bag and apply the tag. Nice slide, but again, going down to the bag as a catcher. Joe, just talk about applying that tag in a bang play.
Yeah, when you have the ball, then you put your shin guard down and you keep them from getting to home plate. And I don't know at this level if you can run someone over, but my guess is you can't, right? So in the big leagues, you might think about running them over. But I'm going to give Tia Warsop a lot of credit. She gets to second base, right? So you're in no worse position if they would have just made the play at first base and kept second and third. So her hustle and her heads-up play puts them in another good situation to score. Yeah, the shortstop second were both off the bag. Second was open. She took it. This play is under review. Kenny thinks that maybe she was safe. Coach Gajewski wants to see if she was safe at home as we take a look and see for ourselves. Well, I think you have to be concerned. Are you allowed to block the plate at this level before you have the ball? You know what it is? It's catcher interference, and that's what he is challenging. And it's a great catch there, Joe, is that may be exactly what we're actually reviewing here. And that's what we were taught to do. Once you had the ball, drop your knee. Speaking of you, caught a complete game with Doc, a no-hitter. Not a complete game, a no-hitter. And then it was a complete game, though. It was indeed. And a perfect game with David Cone, right? I mean, talk to me about what that was like, catching those days, and how you knew how special it was as the games kept going. Well, I was really blessed, and I think about Doc Gooden's in May of '96, where his father was awaiting open heart surgery, and his father said, stay and pitch that game. Wow. And it was against Seattle, a fantastic lineup, you know, Griffey, Buhner, and all those guys, and he threw about 140 pitches, but he found a way to get through it, and it was just a thrill for me. And the Mets, all those great pitchers, they hadn't had a no-hitter yet. Wow. Doc Gooden comes over to the Yankees, throws a no-hitter. And then David Cones.
At the review, the call on the field is confirmed. The runner is out. That is Oklahoma State's first challenge. They have one challenge remaining.
So again, as we take a look at this, the ruling is the field call and the field will stand.
I look at the tag. The throw was a little up the line, and the catcher getting her glove down. Tried to block the plate, but got the glove down to make the tag.
Yeah, I think the tag was there, but I think there was also interference potentially. So cannot obstruct the bag before the ball gets there, and that's the timing and the issue there. But to finish that story, I mean, just an incredible outing.
David Cohn, catching a perfect game is like catching a World Series game. Catching a no-hitter's like just a playoff game, in a sense. The intensity where you can't mess up. Nobody can mess up.
That one is in there for a strike. J.L. Austin back around for her second AB of the afternoon, and there's good look at Farrell.
Well, Alex Jensen did a really good job of going up and away for strike one and then going in for strike two. And I would think that she might go to her breaking ball and change up to see if she can get her to chase.
There's the pitch. That one comes up out of the zone, and the count 1-2. And you know, you get ahead 0-2, that next pitch is almost always a throwaway pitch. If you make it believable they might chase, you go that high out of the zone, they're usually going to stay off of it. And we see that a lot in this game. And there's a 1-2. That one much more believable. Strikeout, drop, third strike drop. I don't know if she's actually dropped it or not, but that's going to be out number 2, and that changes everything right now.
Well, you got a hot hitter in Rosie Davis, so she's still not out of the woods here. But this is an outstanding change of pace after going hard with 3 pitches going up. She not only changed speeds, but she changed eye level. She went from up to down, and from the rise ball to drop ball. But to me, it looked like a changeup in a sense.
And that one did skip in there, so got the throw, and that does bring up Rosie Davis out of Readyville, Tennessee, as she is struck out her first time up, batting .377. Game 1 hero, trying to help her team out here early in this one in the bottom of the 3rd.
Big opportunity here for Davis.
That one is fouled. And by the way, the reason you're on campus often, we needed to discuss this. Your daughter is an outstanding freshman for the Oklahoma State Cowgirl basketball team. That's why this is happening here today. And I know they've got a huge game, senior day today, and I know you're excited about seeing some basketball.
Yeah, they are. Right now they are 4th, and it is a huge game against Kansas, who's been playing very well. They've won 5 out of their last 6 conference games, and if they win, they get a 4 seed. They get a double bye at the Big 12 tournament starting next week in Kansas City. So this is a huge game, and it's also senior day. They have 3 seniors. It's exciting for those girls, but also probably sad because they're going to miss the group of girls they've been with.
Yeah, that team will never be together again in that same form after this season, and that is always that harsh reality. As that one misses just outside, and Rosie showing she's the one good eye, is seeing the ball well, as that is going to run the count to 3-1.
I'll give Alex Jensen some credit. I think she knows she has an open base with the left-hander on deck too. So she's not going to give in here.
Lefty-lefty matchup coming up with Tim if she does put her there. That was going to be hit up the middle. The throw across the diamond. It's dropped. The Cowgirls will score 1. The Cowgirls will score 2 on the error. And the Cowgirls, that's why you want to hit it hard and put it in play, Chris. Just good things happen when you put the ball in play.
Yeah, you definitely just put it in play and see what happens in a wild mistake, especially with Jordy Fromm, a stud that you just don't expect, and looked like a routine ground ball and just a throw that I thought she could handle at first. It crossed her up a little bit, allowed the Cowgirls to score 2.
Tailed away from her late, and it just ticked off the end of her glove, and the Cowgirls heads up base running, scores 2, and it's 2-0 as Claire Tim will get this opportunity with the lefty-lefty matchup here.
You know, sometimes when a play like that happens, because it went off her glove, you look, you know, from where the ball came from. Did she lose it in a sign? Did she lose it in the crowd? And I don't really see anything that should have affected her eyesight. I think she just missed it. It happens. Even the greatest players, it happens to.
Even the greatest players, it happens to. There's no doubt about it. Tim swinging big at that one. By the way, before we get out of here, again, 0-2 count, 2 out. Much of your time on this campus, you really are Lena's dad more than Joe,
sure.
Right? Isn't that right? Okay.
Yeah,
wanted to make sure.
And I love being Lena's dad. And I would hope these 1,800 to 2,000 people would walk over to the basketball game that's at 5 o'clock when they're done here.
Well, Claire Tim got caught looking and becomes a strikeout victim, and that's how we will go to break. But the Cowgirls, on an error, scored 2. They've got the early lead. Moving to the top of the 4th at Stillwater after the break. Oklahoma, we move to the bottom of the 4th. Excuse me, the top of the 4th. I'll get it right in a minute.
Yeah, I like that 0 up there. You do want to shut down inning. You don't want Nebraska to score here. Keep the momentum. I like that.
Yeah, the little speaking into fruition. Now, Coach Ravel would disagree with you on that. Hey, go back to talking about Coach Ravel. I know you guys had a long conversation over there, and she was excited to sit down and have a chance to talk to you as well. Did you guys talk ball? Did you talk other stuff? What did you guys talk about?
We talked more life. I thanked her for her service, 34 years with one program. And again, I said earlier, if you're at a place for 34 years, you do it the right way. Not only from an academic standpoint, a sports standpoint, but from being a mentor to the girls. If you're not really good at all 3 of those things, you're not there 34 years. So I thanked her for what she's done.
And Casey Hoffman is going to make Coach happy with the leadoff single into left field to give the Nebraska Cornhuskers their 3rd hit. You know, Joe, it's interesting when you have a 3 hits for one team but no runs. Another team has no hits but 2 runs. Sometimes you got to play the entire game, right?
Well, yeah, you have to play on both sides of the ball. Oklahoma State's had a couple walks. Nebraska added a couple errors. J-Cell Austin made a great catch to end the 3rd inning, the top of the 3rd, which kept Nebraska from scoring. Nebraska has not made the plays so far today.
There's a pitch. That one just misses. Riley Crandall's been in the circle, and again, Coach Ravel's team has put some pressure on, but the Cowgirls have gotten out of it. And Cusack batting .246 with a couple of home runs and trying to keep things going and get some timely hitting going here for Nebraska. Howard is fouled down the line.
I have a question. I haven't seen it in the little that I have watched, but I don't ever see people complain about balls and strikes. Does it happen?
Oh, it happens. It does.
Typically later in the game, but yes, it happens.
It seems to be. Now, you'll hear the crowd definitely.
Oh, that's a different story.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you're going to, Kenny Gajewski definitely in the game late. There was one low and at the knees, maybe below the knees. I can't remember the batter, but it was a called strike and a strikeout. And he walked down, and yeah, it happens. Maybe not as much as it does for you guys at the bigs, but it definitely happens. But I think Chris is exactly right. It's when it is more of a pressure late in the game, as Riley Crandall pitches one that was no doubt got him looking, and that's a big strikeout for Riley Crandall.
It's a great spot on the outside corner.
So a single followed up by a strikeout, and that helps the situation for Oklahoma State. And for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, takes away an out, but they still have a runner. Casey Hoffman at first. Malia Toms, the designated player, 0 for 1, batting .333 with a home run and 1 RBI on the season. Trying to get the offense going for Nebraska. That one, she got underneath, spun it foul out into the grandstand on the third base side.
And we talk about balls and strikes and about complaining. It's also the responsibility of the catchers to make everything look like a strike. And I think these 2 girls that are catching today are pretty good at it. I mean, Audrey, I've liked the way she receives the baseball. She lets it get to her.
You know, coming from you, I'm sure they appreciate that. And Tom's trying to get her second home run, and she does. Second home run of the season for Malia Toms, and she has tied this ball game up at 2 apiece with a shot over right center field. That's the exact same spot Coors stole one on Thursday night, and she nails that one, and the Cowgirls and the Huskers tied up again at 2-2.
Yeah, if I'm Malia Thomas, I'm asking Coach why I'm not in there. I've had 4 at-bats this year. I have 2 home runs. Coach, put me in. She gets the ball up in the zone, and she does a really good job of elevating that, not getting on top of it, and hitting it out to center field. She now has 2 home runs and 6 RBIs and 4 at-bats. That's pretty good production.
Outstanding production is Hannah Coors is the Next batter, the center fielder. Again, she's the one who robbed that home run from Audrey Jones in the first game. Was strikeout today, batting 189. 7-hole hitter for Coach Ravel, and Schneidmiller comes out and wants a little conversation with Riley Crandall.
Oklahoma State now throwing Ruby Malin up in the bullpen because they'll see how Crandall responds after giving up the 2-run shot.
Foul tip into the backstop. Strike one. 1-1 the count here as Ruby, as Chris said, getting some time in the bullpen for the Cowgirls.
As you know, women's basketball, the hair is a big thing, right? All the girls get their different braids. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been impressed with the eye black for the women in softball and wondering who's behind all this. It's pretty cool, and it sparkles. And
You literally asked the Cowgirl team in the dugout, hey, which of you is in charge of this?
Yeah.
It's spot on, and they all kind of act like they did their own thing, but they all know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Coors lays down the bunt. Nobody on to first. Now they are. She's going to reach on a single, so a sack bunt, or a sack, not a sack bunt, excuse me, a single off of the bunt for Coors, and she's safe at first.
Well, obviously, we saw her speed in the outfield, and she just displayed it there. I mean, this is not a great bunt. It's not down the line, but she gets out of the box so well. It's an easy way to get on, and now
Godwin came charging, and by the time Jones got over there, a little bit late to cover first, and that, it's one of the things. The other thing I know you were talked a lot with Kenny Gajewski about is just the distance of the bases, right? And the distance of the circle. And a 65 is equivalent to a 95 in baseball. And as Alexis Jensen gets another opportunity here, reached on an error first time up. But, man, there's not much time for the defense with 60 feet.
No, very little time. If you bobble the ball, they're probably safe. And the other thing about it is that the girls hit the ball so hard and the infield is so small. If it's not basically right at an infielder, it's a base hit.
Yeah. That is one of the reasons why the slap was so effective. If you could get it up high and create enough time before anybody could get to it, you were safe at first. If you just had speed, then that left side that kind of has evaporated from the game. Not entirely, but it's not as what it once was. This team certainly in Oklahoma State's much more of a power hitting team.
Well, it's what baseball has become too. It's a power game.
Throw to second and got her in time. Great job there by Jones sliding over another terrific throw. And as a former catcher, I know you're loving that right there.
Hey, if I'm not going to get hit or I'm not going to do a lot offensively, I'm going to take it away from you. And she's got an incredible arm as she throws from both knees. A lot of guys will go up on the one knee or try to stand up, and it's a really good tag. Second baseman lets the ball get to her.
And how big is it after the base hit? That takes away a potential run. Now a runner at first, but that would have been a potential scoring hit had Schneidmiller not made that throw and Jones got the tag down.
I mean, you look at Schneidmiller, she's doing it on both sides of the ball. She's having a fantastic senior year, and you just hope that this just continues and continues. She takes it all the way to the College World Series.
2-2, and Coach Ravel is going to get a pinch runner at first. So she's going to bring in a player, and we'll get that player for you
Carter,
coming up.
55.
All right, that is Carter, and Dakota Carter out of Eastvale, California, Roosevelt High School. Going to be pinch running. Senior outfielder, so she's got a little speed, and 2 out. Good job trying to frame that one just over the outside edge, but it's a ball 1 to Lauren Cammonson, the second baseman. And good time probably to talk this over. All right, so we may not get this whole conversation in, but for the purpose of one Ryan Cameron, who is the sports information director for Oklahoma State women's basketball, who I know you're very familiar with, he's a huge Braves fan. Let's go back to the Game 6 of the World Series. You guys were down 2-0. Game 6, that you win at 3-2. You had a RBI triple, probably the key hit to get that there. And I want to get your thoughts on that. Hang on. Now I feel like I just shorted us time. I got to get the full story for his sake and all the Bravo fans out there that are around here that want to know that story. So,
well, this is Mickey Mantle country. Right? They should all be Yankee fans if you live in Oklahoma. The problem is you're cheering for the Braves.
Good stuff right there.
Every kid should be number 7.
I grew up a Cubs fan.
All right, I understand that because of WGN.
Yeah, partly,
yes.
and I had family in Chicago. But yes, but that's why TBS and the Braves fans are everywhere. That's the same formula for sure. As Camden's 1-1 count here, 1 run on. Nebraska tied it up with the home run, trying to take the lead. And there's strike 2, 2-2 the count. And I don't want to short this story. We're about to go to break, I have a feeling, so I want to get the full effect.
I was hopeful that when Holiday went to the Yankees, he was going to wear 7 as an Oklahoma kid to be able to wear 7. And he went with 17, I'm guessing.
And that one is fouled by. I know you're very
they weren't going to let him wear 7.
Yeah.
I know you're very familiar. In fact, when we were in Arizona, the Cowgirl basketball team was Arizona. You were there. He was there.
Yeah.
I know you guys got a chance to catch up.
Yeah, and his son's obviously doing very well in the minor leagues. Ethan, the younger son, used to play in the kids' room at Yankee Stadium with my daughter Lena.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great story right there. Swing and a miss, and a strikeout for Riley Crandall, and that's how that inning will come to an end. But Nebraska did some damage. The home run for Tom's, a 2-run shot, and we're tied up at 2 apiece in Stillwater. This is Big 12 softball on ESPN+. Played in Stillwater, and let's take a look at Nebraska's resume. Ranked number 4 in the country, according to USA Softball and the ESPN poll. They beat number 1 Texas. They beat number 2 Texas Tech and came back. The top 3 teams are all combined 50-2, but both of those losses coming to Nebraska. And Chris, they have played a brutal schedule that will pay off in the end, and that was what Coach Ravel said. I want to create normalcy in great competition, so when we face them, it's just what we do.
Yeah, she has OKC in mind. She wants to play a great schedule, build a resume, get a chance to host. That's just regional supers and get to Oklahoma City. So she wants to play the game right. She plays a great schedule. She's got dreams of winning a Big Ten championship.
Amanda Hassler will lead things off for Oklahoma State. Cowgirls, too, have played a brutal schedule, and it has been phenomenal. And Hassler, the designated player, hits that one right over the booth of us. All right, Joe, I know you're not here to talk about you, but I do want to talk about that moment. What an incredible game. Game 6. You were down 2-0. You win 4 straight, and your triple, your RBI in a 1-run game, that was vital.
Yes. I actually thought that Joe Torre might give me the squeeze.
Yeah.
Right? But there was nobody out, and a lot of times we ran the safety squeeze. The best time to run it is 1st and 3rd with a left-handed pitcher up because he can't see the runner at 3rd, and he can't really cover first base. And it's just there's a lot of issues from a defensive standpoint. But he turned me loose. I was facing Greg Maddox, who I caught in Chicago.
Former teammate.
Yeah, and I knew how he liked to pitch.
As Hassler gets under that one, and that one's going to land in there for the first base hit of the day for the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. Hassler is at first as we take a look at this hit.
Yeah, good job of fighting this ball off that's up and into her. They've been trying to pitch her up all day long, and she's able to get on top of this one enough to get it in between the shortstop and the center fielder, and now maybe they got something going. I mean, if the defense continues to play the way it's playing, they're going to have something going. But Joe Torre let me swing, and Marquise Grissom was playing me like I was, 9 years old. He was really shallow, kind of something that the Atlanta Braves did. I mean,
oh, is that what is hit? It is going to be at the track, though. Camping out underneath it as Cam is in, and boy, got the crowd going for a minute as Carly Godwin just got a little bit too underneath that one.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm not used to is the trajectory of the ball here, and here comes Coach. I don't know if she's going to make a pitching change, but I thought it was gone when she hit it. I did. Yeah. It was a good sound, and I thought it was gone, but it wasn't. But he was playing me really shallow. I didn't even hit the track, and I ended up with the triple, and then we ended up scoring, I think, 3 runs that inning, and then we had the long 9th inning where Mark Lemke kept fouling the ball off into the third base dugout. Charlie Hayes finally caught the last one, and it was celebration. And there was one valuable lesson that I learned from that World Series.
What's that?
Don't be on the bottom of the pile. So if you look at any other championship celebration I was in, I always held the pitcher up. because Paul O'Neill kept jumping on the pile, rolling off, coming back. And I was scared at the bottom of the pile. And that was the one thing that I learned from that celebration.
Well, it was a great, obviously a great celebration. And for all the Braves fans out there, I had to bring that up. Aubrey Jones swinging a miss, and getting back over there is Hassler.
And I think they outscored us like 18-2 in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And they thought they were going to walk through us.
It was, you guys won 4 in a row after that. The last one being in Atlanta, though, right? When they were the home team.
No, the last one was at home. And this is what happened. We got swept the first.
3-2, wasn't it?
We lost the first 2 at home. And George wasn't real happy and went into Joe's office. And Joe had managed in Atlanta. And he said, look, George, Atlanta's my town. And this was one of Joe's greatest qualities. He could calm Mr. Steinbrenner down. And he said, snap throw to first, pretty good there. He said, look, this is my town. We're going to go win 3 in Atlanta, and then we're going to come home and win Game 6 in New York. He was right. I mean,
wow.
it truly amazing. But his presence helped us relax in that situation. And we were talking about, what Coach Rhonda Revelle does. She has them play really tough competition. So when it means the most at the end of the year, they'll be relaxed because they're used to these tight games. This is not something new. And that's the advantage of being able to compete at such a high level and win the close games.
No doubt about it. And there's a great pitch by Jensen to get another strikeout on Aubrey Jones. And so 2 gone. Still got Hassler at first. Those are great stories. And that I would imagine you learned a lot, not only from Steinbrenner, which is pretty amazing when you think about it in that regard, but also from Joe Torre and your style. And as I have gotten to know you, one thing somebody said they've read about you, attention to detail. I didn't read that. I've seen that. I could tell that's the way. You're a disciplined kind of guy. Not surprising you were successful as a manager.
Well, that's how I prepared as a player. I wanted as much knowledge in my mind, so when I was playing, everything was really instinctual. And I didn't have to think about, okay, I'm not sure what to call here or what my approach is at the plate. I knew because I studied so hard. And to me, that's how I survived.
You told the young ladies that's what you did. Obviously, you did that in the classroom as well. And this is a young lady you have been very impressed with, affecting the game on both sides. She drew a walk. That's another rip down the left side. She's just off a little bit, but man, Schneidmiller is hitting the ball hard this afternoon.
Yeah, and from the catcher position, I mean, that's a big plus because they get fatigued as the season goes on. But I also love the way she handles the running game and how she battles in her at-bats. I mean, she was down 1-2 the other night in the 7th and had that big 2-out hit, and they ended up tying the score, which set up the theatrics for Rosie Davis.
Absolutely it did, and that one misses high and away for 2-2. Her teammate and fellow catcher is at first. Hassler is the designated player this afternoon, and she's been stuck at first. Led off the inning with a hit, couple of outs, and now Schneidmiller hits that one over the second baseman. Hassler will stay at second. No, after the bobble, now will make the throw as Hoffman bobbled it. And taking off is Hassler, and Hassler's now at third, and Schneidmiller's at first with a single.
Well, that play happens because Amanda Hassler runs so hard to second, and the right fielder, Casey Hoffman's concerned that she's going, so she knows she has to charge it hard. She gets an in-between hop, which, makes her miss the ball, and then you see Hassler get to third, and, first and third, if you hit a rocket to the right field, you may not be able to score if it's first and second. We saw that the other night, so it's another opportunity to score.
Runners on the corners, 2 out for the Cowgirls' second baseman. There she is, Jaden Jones.
An infield there now scores a run. There's just so many ways you can score a run by getting to third, so good job by Amanda.
No doubt about it. Saw the bobble, was again being very attentive to what was happening. Man advanced to third, and there she sits, and that one is hit into the bullpen of Nebraska and caught down there by one of the young ladies in the bullpen. More work and activity going on for Nebraska in the bullpen. In fact, over there was Kylie Maggie, young lady out of Anaheim, Arizona State transfer, as Jones takes the called strike there, 1-2.
That's really a tough pitch after that elevated fastball, and then you throw that breaking ball. Catches the outside corner, I think.
So 1-2 here for Jaden Jones. And check swing. She didn't go. She wanted to, and well, that one really just about buckled her.
That has to be one of the hardest calls for an umpire, to see if they go. And I still haven't figured out what a check swing is after all these years. But I'm going to say that was a check swing.
So a 2-2. This one's ripped. Is it going to stay fair? It's on the line. Scores one. And there will be no play at the plate. Second and third give Jaden Jones the RBI double, and the Cowgirls have regained the lead.
What a shot by Jones. Down the line, picks up the RBI. Her second double of the year. 8th RBI.
What a shot. And again, you said it earlier, just all the little things, right? Those sorts of things. She probably would have scored if she was at second, but she got to advance to third, made it easier, and you just, those things all mount up. It's the little things. The Cowgirls have been out hit 6-3, but they still have a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, they didn't have a hit until this inning. So the fact that it was 2-2 without any base hits, they took advantage of miscues by Nebraska. Now they're starting to hit, and that's a good sign.
2 on, 2 out. Bottom of the lineup up for Oklahoma State. Jensen staying in there. Since that one pops it up, it's Tia Warsop. That'll go to Casey Hoffman, and she camps out underneath it for the third out. But the Cowgirls do manage 3 hits, and they get another run. The Cowgirls have taken the lead. It's 3-2 on a fantastic softball after. Welcome back to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Casey Kendrick along with Chris Dill. Joe Girardi, our special guest, and Ruby Malin is now in relief for the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. And Joe, you asked her, how's her arm today? She said, it feels great. It feels great. I mean, that young lady wants the ball anytime she can get it.
Well, this is big for her because you know that her and Jordy Fram grew up 50 miles apart. They were probably compared against each other the whole time that they were in high school playing travel ball. They were teammates. So this is really big for her. And I was impressed the other night because of the 30 outs she recorded, 13 of them were on the ground. 9 were strikeouts, so there wasn't much in the air off her. There was a bunt, there was a caught stealing. She really threw the ball well.
That one is hit right to Rosie, and Rosie makes the throw across the diamond. And talk to me about Rosie. She was second base last year. She's at third this year. Coach said I was dreading the conversation. I just didn't know if she'd be comfortable, and he said, Rosie, I need you at third. She said, okay. How hard is it to go from second to third?
A lot of guys in Major League Baseball don't like it because it's so different. The ball gets to you so quick at third. It's more of a reaction position than one where you can have a lot of range, and they're not comfortable doing it. Jazz Chisholm did it pretty well. It all comes down to the mindset, and I think that tells you a lot about this young lady in Rosie Davis, that she wants to win and she's going to do whatever it takes to win, and she can do whatever it helps her team. So I give her a lot of credit. Hitting walk-off homers helps too.
It does indeed. And you know, again, Coach knew he's got a young lady in Castillo that could play second as well. But Jones is over there. In fact, coming in last weekend, she was 5 for 6 with 4 walks. Her on-base percentage was .900. So there's depth and there's possibilities. But Rosie said, Coach, if you need me to go to third, I'll go to third. And she's taken to it like a duck to water, if you will. And as somebody told you and I as we walked in, she's played that position finer than a frog hair split 2 ways.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I assumed it was good. I didn't know frogs had hair.
Oh my goodness! Welcome to Oklahoma. Oh goodness, that was a great one right there. 1-2 count coming up. Cowgirls leading 3-2 just off the plate.
That one get me off my seat a little bit.
Hannah Cam is in the left fielder. Let's take a look and see where it's at. Is Rosie?
Because from the bench you can tell up and down. You can't tell in and out, and that's really, really close.
Well, that looked like it was there, and the crowd certainly wanted that call. The count goes to 2-2. Now 3-2, as that one Rosie goes to the rise ball there. You know, Rosie came in with a dominating drop ball. They wanted to add the rise this year. She has. It's not her most confident pitch, but she's done a great job of adding that to the repertoire to really mix things up as that one is fouled off. We'll do 3-2 again.
Well, it's the importance of giving different looks, and that's what gives you deception when you can't count on the ball to be just in one area, and it just changes the perspective of a hitter. And I think as time goes on this year, you'll see her get more chases up in the zone because she'll have more command of it.
When ball 4, that's going to be the first walk issued by Oklahoma State. And give Nebraska credit. They've got a base runner on and down by 1. And Joe, the thing is often it's response, right? When you give up a run, are you going to go get it back? And that's obviously what Coach Ravel would like from her team right now.
Well, we always talk about the importance of shutdown innings. When you score, don't let the other team score the next inning because it takes a little bit out of them.
That one is hit. Jones underneath it makes the out, and now 2 gone, and that changes things a little bit for Oklahoma State as Casey Hoffman will come in.
So Rick Sutcliffe was a longtime pitcher in the big leagues, pitched with the Dodgers, Cleveland, the Cubs, Baltimore. I was with him when I was a rookie. I was a rookie, and he was a veteran with the Cubs. And he would tell me when I hit a ball like that, hey, Joe, ball's not carrying the second today. Here I'm a rookie. I'm mad I made it out. And he found a way to make me laugh.
Oh, goodness. That's good stuff right there. Oh, my. Casey Hoffman facing that young lady right there in relief. She's a primary starter, but with the 1-run lead, Kenny Gajewski going for the second win against the number 4 team in the country, trying to get Ruby to close it out. Falls behind Hoffman 2-0. Keep in mind, Hoffman's shown some decent power today, and she is the 4-hole hitter. Going to be careful here.
She hit one out opposite field yesterday in Tulsa.
So has good power, and Cusack is coming up next. Cusack is 0 for 2 on the day. So we'll see as she does get the strike there, 2-1. And you love the other thing at this level as that one is hit in the gap. Jones can't quite get there, and Nebraska will have runners at first and second. The mental makeup it takes to overcome giving up a home run or back-to-back hits in a tight ball game like this, and when you see Ruby, you see Jordy, they just know how to shake it off and not let last pitch affect next pitch.
Well, they've been there and they've done that, and that's the importance of experience, and that's a lot of times why you don't see freshmen play a lot in sports, because they don't have the experience in these type of games. And you want to give it to them piece by piece. You don't want to give it all to them at once because you don't want them to fail.
That one is hit. She reached out, slapped it into right center, and out there is Austin calling everybody off. And so the threat is over for the Huskers in the top half of number 5. It's 3-2. Cowgirls on top of Nebraska in Stillwater. Got a pitching change in the circle for Coach Ravel and the Cornhuskers. Fromm is back out there. Jordy from the former Jordy Ball, and she'll be here in relief. Casey Kendrick along with Chris Dill, our very special guest. Helping us with color commentating today is Joe Girardi, 4-time World Series champ, 3 times as a player, 1 time as a manager for the Yankees. And we've enjoyed this. And you know, you talk to different players again for the Cowgirls, and you know, now you've got Ruby coming in relief. Now you've got Jordy coming in relief. And whatever you're asked to do, you just go do.
Yeah, and you see the importance of this game to both coaches, because it's not only 2 top teams playing, but this is recruiting wars, right?
Yes, sure.
Where do you want to go, Nebraska, or you want to go to Oklahoma State? You live in this area, you know, and it's big to win games.
100%. You know, that's the other great thing about Jordy. Coach Ravel told us she is such an ambassador to Nebraska, to the game of softball, as Austin is in there for Oklahoma State. She's got a 2-0 count ahead, the center fielder. But you love it when kids understand, all right, young people are looking up to us, and we need to carry ourselves, and we really need to pay it forward. And Jordy, according to Coach Ravel, is one of the best ever.
Yeah, it's really important that you have players that high school kids can look up to, young players on your team that can look up to, and obviously she sets the example. You know, she's coming in here and doing whatever it takes to try to win this game. She throws very hard. I mean, down in the zone, her fastball's like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Equivalent to 100-mile-an-hour baseball. Check swing is not coming around, and they count 3-1 still for the center fielder for Oklahoma State. Now, Kim, your wife, you got Serena, Dante, and then, of course, Lena played some baseball, right? With you, not softball, baseball.
No, she played until she was 13 years old. She pitched, had outstanding mechanics. I had my friend teach her mechanics. And because she has longer hair, that's what JSL Austin does. Leads the club in walks, and I think that's 15 on the year in 19 games, and that's why she has such a high on base. And this young lady's going to hit for power, too.
Yeah.
She's going to be the complete package. And we saw a great play that she made in center field. You got to be excited about her in the future. No. But Lena had the long hair hanging out her hat. I said, "You look like Jacob deGrom out there."
You put everybody fits some player you know, coach, right? That's how you equate things, right?
Well, I mean, I think you're always looking for comparisons, and obviously I had one for Alex Jensen today, Kyle Schwarber, but Lena was, Jacob deGrom.
That is awesome stuff. Rosie Davis, the infielders, the third baseman. We talked about switching from second to third and what she's been able to do. And she's got opportunity in front of her again here in the fifth. Cowgirls not content with a one-run lead, as that one is going to carry just to Camden Zinn, who does a good job catching that ball over her left shoulder, glove out, and pulls it in for the first out.
You see her kind of checking, is the sun going to be a problem? And it may have bothered her a little bit. A lot of times it's when the sky is all blue, but sometimes when it's cloudy like this, the sun just happens to pop out of the cloud when you're not looking.
Pinch hitter coming up for the Cowgirls, Henderson.
All right. So we will get the details on this young lady coming up, as Claire Tim been struggling a little bit. This is Montgomery Henderson, just a freshman out of Katy, Texas. Tall young lady at 6 foot. And she will get a pinch hit opportunity in the 3-hole for Claire Tim. First pitch fouled out of play. Back over towards the Nebraska dugout. Another fantastic game played. We do have a few errors. In fact, we got too many errors. If you ask either coach, there's 5 total. But all of them were some absolute hard shots and just a couple of bobbles along the way, a couple of throwing errors.
Yeah, the difference is Oklahoma State's errors didn't cost them. The errors by Nebraska cost them 2 runs, and when they would be up 2-1 had they not made those errors. Just one was a simple catch.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A throw to first that Fromm just couldn't hang on. That scored 2 for Oklahoma State. And the 1-1 coming up here to Henderson. Way out in front of that one, and that's a great off speed.
It's not fair. After throwing 100, dropping that Bugs Bunny changeup on it, that's not fair.
That was a beautiful off speed, and Henderson way out front. So now she's behind to the count 1-2. The pitch in, got her again with the same pitch, and that'll be a strikeout for Henderson. Let's take a look at this one.
Yeah, she just pulls the string. It's up in the zone, which gives the hitter a little bit better chance, but you can see, and that's a senior against a freshman. That's experience. That's a really good swing, and she stays on her backside really well. And with more experience, there's going to be some damage there.
That'll bring up the designated player, Amanda Hassler. And that one's in there for a strike.
So, is the designated player ever not a hitter? Because I'm trying to figure out why they don't call him the designated hitter.
Well, there's
some substitution rules.
There's a flex. There's a flex. Yeah, let me drop a little knowledge to Joe Girardi in a diamond sport. A flex, and I'm going to tell you, the man behind me, Chris Dill, is infinitely better at these substitution rules. But a flex player, it allows you to enter and re-enter, and you can explain it better, Chris Dill, but it is just different than baseball.
Well, the re-enter rule too is they flex and move their runners. That 10 spot is used as a defensive spot, as you mentioned, not getting to hit. But, late in the game as they have the re-enter, and then they can rotate. Just a ton of movement in the roster. Most of the time you see that late in the game. They start getting into situation stuff, and they start really trying to move things.
And a designated player is going to hit for the pitcher in many situations, but when you got Fromm and you got Jensen that can hit for themselves, as Hassler got underneath that one and the shortstop is over, Cusack is able to camp out underneath it. It does change it up a little bit, and you see some crazy stuff. 7 hits for the Huskers, 3 for Oklahoma State, but the Cowgirls have a 3-2 lead. Back to Stillwater after this. Game recap. That throw right there, an errant throw, allowed the Cowgirls to score 2. That's how they got on top. But then Toms had a 2-run blast that made it 2-2. And the Cowgirls got the hit from Jones. That allowed them to score 1 more, and the Cowgirls have a 3-2 lead. And CD, I mean, this is odd, right? The 2 starters from game 1 are the 2 relievers today. But boy, we know this, and Joe said it. These 2 teams, if you're the Cowgirls, you know you can win 2 out of 3, and you've won the series no matter what happens tomorrow. For Coach Ravel, she's trying to salvage the series a little bit and take a little pressure off tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously we've set ourselves up for a big-time showdown tomorrow, but, you know, 2 different games. Thursday pitchers duel. Today we've got a ton of stuff going on. Mishaps. I mean, you have 5 errors on the board. You have the pitchers coming on in relief, but you know, ultimately 2 great teams making good plays, putting the ball in play, trying to see what happens.
That ball, Toms gets underneath another one. It is going to drift foul anyway, maybe on the line, but Tim's there for the catch. And the Cowgirls get the first out in the the top of the 6th inning. Casey Kendrick along with Chris Dill, and our special guest is Joe Girardi, again, former manager of the Yankees. We're going to have Joe with us for the remainder of this one. And again, got to get across the way. Listen, baseball, you spent time, you met your wife, in fact, at Northwestern. I know how much that part of the world means to you and how much you appreciate what Northwestern's all about. But I know you got to enjoy being back around this college atmosphere with Lena on the team.
Oh, it keeps you young is what it does, being around all these young people. And the excitement of sports and competition, you love watching games like this that are so tight. I mean, the game the other night was 2-1 for Oklahoma State in 11. You got a 3-2 game here in the 6th. You got both aces on the mound. This is great. And the weather's fantastic.
Yeah. It is indeed. Unseasonably warm, normally about 55 degrees in Stillwater. We're expecting today to be in the 80s, and a little more wind than we had the other night, but a record crowd here. We'll tell you more about that, but the fans have enjoyed the new stands. They've enjoyed the weather, and they've certainly enjoyed the competition as Ruby enjoys that call. That's a good-looking crowd right there. All the seats just about taken as Hannah Core watches strike 2, a 204 hitter, 1-2 right now in the count, 1 for 2 on the day. Now little check swing that goes into right field just past Carly Godwin, and Tim will bring it in, and Coors gets the single.
Yeah, a really good piece of hit, and she just kind of didn't really take a stride and just kind of used her hands and was able to slap it by the first baseman. And you're going to take a look at this, and just kind of throws her hands out there. And again, because the bases are so short, the ball gets on the infielder so quick, you don't have a chance to have a lot of range.
So 1 gone, 1 on. Hey, let us know where you are. I mean, you're still broadcasting. You're in the booth a lot, helping out. Where, when, and where?
Yeah, I'm doing 60 games for the Yankees. I've done a few spring training games. I got 1 more, and then my first series is. It looks like we have a pinch hitter here. My first series will be the home opener for the Yankees. They open up on the road against San Francisco on a Wednesday, which is strange.
Wow. As Bella Bacon will come in as a pinch hitter, and they're going to call Jones off the bag. They'll say safe, and let's see if Kenny wants to review this. He wants to talk it over first and then maybe get the review. Bella Bacon, again, came in as a designated hitter. Got the line and the play by Davis throwing to Jones, but they say Jones's foot came off, and Kenny does, in fact, want to review this.
Well, the look that Jaden Jones had on her face makes me believe that she was out and she was on the base, and I'm not sure if she was pulled off. This is an outstanding play by Rosie. And, I mean, he's got a good view, and I think he might have a point here that she's off the base, and she might have thought that she was on it, or she's really trying to sell it.
Listen, selling that is part of the process, right? But it looked clearly like her foot was a couple of inches away from that bag.
And she did the right thing, because when you know you're not going to turn a double play, your job is to turn into a first baseman. You're not trying to turn. And she did. She stretched as far as she could, but the throw took her off the bag a little bit.
So that will be runners at second, or first and second, with one gone if the ruling is upheld. And again, it looks clearly by the time she gets the glove, her foot's off the bag, and the Nebraska fans seem to agree with our assessment.
Yeah, she probably stretched a little bit too quickly. She could have been more on the outside of the bag if she had more time to read the ball.
And I'm sure, just like with you guys when you're doing a broadcast, the broadcast video is not the same as the review video. There's other cameras. There may be some telltale evidence, but from what we see there, now that
it looks like she's out.
It
right?
does. And it's hard. I don't know if that's enough to overturn it, because you can definitively say her foot's on the bag. But it's certainly more of a case that, yes, she is in fact out. Chris, what do you think?
Well, Ruby was pointing up at the video board, the new video board, saying, look, she had the ball, her foot's on the bag, but I mean, he had a great spot. He was in position to make the call. It'll be tough. It'll be weird to have, that'll be the third error for the Cowgirls today, because as a pitcher, you get the ground ball. You get what you were looking for. You get the ground ball to potentially get the lead out.
And obviously a big difference between runners at first and second with one out versus runner at first and two out.
Here's the problem too. If she's called out originally, it might stand.
Right.
If she's called safe,
exactly.
That was always my problem with the replay.
100%.
And one time I wanted to go yell at the replay official.
And now here's a rule for you. Once the ruling has been made, once they come out of there and they say safe or out, you cannot argue it, or you are ejected.
Yeah, that happened to me. I just said one time I wish before I was done managed, and I wish I would have went and got on the headset and started yelling. Because back in the day, it was a headset, and you could walk over. Oh, man. I wanted to do that so bad.
So the same rule exists for you guys up there. Okay, all right. Once that ruling has been made, you cannot argue it, or it's an automatic ejection.
A balk you can't argue either.
Yeah, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll find out from the officials.
At the review, the call on the field stands. The runner is safe. That is Oklahoma State's second challenge. They have 0 challenges remaining.
So Oklahoma State, no more challenges, and runners at first and second for Nebraska. An opportunity for the Cornhuskers to try to get this thing tied up and maybe more, with runners at first and second and only one out. And now to bring up Lauren Camenzon. That is the third error of the game for Oklahoma State, as Chris mentioned. 3 also for Nebraska, and as Joe mentioned, those errors have not, at to this point, cost Oklahoma State. So big opportunity for Nebraska to answer error for error, and leading to runs. That one misses inside, count 1-1. Lauren Camenzon, the second baseman.
Looks like Ruby's trying to keep the ball down, or she's trying to keep it in so she can extend her arms and get the ball in the air and maybe get a double play, or at least get a force out.
Interesting stance at second over there. It looks like a sprinter stance as Jones makes the throw to first. The Cowgirls have their second out, but now runners have advanced to second and third. And a base hit, error, those sorts of things. Again, little pressure coming up as we flip the order back over to the ever-dangerous Jordy Fromm.
Yeah, this is the interesting matchup. How aggressive is she going to be against Jordy Fromm? It's not like the number 2 hitter, Hannah Camenzon, is not a good hitter, but this is obviously their best hitter. How aggressive are you going to be? And I think as a hitter, sometimes you think they're not going to attack you, and you let one go by.
Well, and she struck her out a couple of times in the first game between the two, but there's an open bag, and do you want to let her have this opportunity? And she does. Squirts one into right field. Throw back in. It's going to score 2, and Nebraska has regained the lead on the 2 RBI single by Jordy Fromm.
That's just a good piece of hitting. Take that ball opposite field, stand with it.
just took it where it was at, and that's, again, that ball was low and away, and she was able to get the barrel on it, Joe. And that's, again, as Chris said, that's just good hitting.
Yeah, you can't make a better pitch. And sometimes you got to tip your hat to the pitcher, and sometimes you just got to tip your hat to the hitter. And now it's going to be important for Oklahoma State to respond as they go into the bottom of the 6th, hopefully shortly.
So an error leads to a couple of runs for both teams now. Nebraska has gotten those back, and they have the lead at 4-3.
And now you look, both teams have given up 2 unearned runs today.
Absolutely. Hannah Kamenzen, left fielder, walked last time up. Fouls that one back. Count 0-2 to her.
I know you said her last name better than I did, so that was outstanding.
Yeah, well, there's 2 of them on the team, and I've said them for a couple of games, so I've got the the advantage there. But tell you what, these young ladies have been very effective, and 2 very, very good teams. You know, sometimes, you know, I don't know, you had such a clean game on Thursday, now 6 errors in this one. Is that sometimes just trying to do too much against knowing the opponents? I got to be perfect in everything I do.
I also think sometimes it could be fatigue and the pressure of the game, understanding that each run is precious in these type of games. And it's, you know, these are the importance of playing in these games, because all you're doing is getting ready for the regionals. That's what you're getting ready for. Conference play, yes, is important, but you're trying to win the World Series, and you're getting ready for that, and these games are going to prepare for it.
So the count goes to 2-2. And yeah, keeping in mind this is the Cowgirls' 4th game in 3 days. Same for Nebraska. And the Cowgirls will play 2 more tomorrow. Here's the stat I was going to throw at you. South Dakota State is the first opponent for Oklahoma State tomorrow. They will play, they started their season February 6th. They will play their first home game March 27th, opening the season with a 36-game road streak. As that one's hit right to Ruby, the throw to first is in time. Get your thought on a 36-game streak opener to start a season. Cowgirls out of trouble, but they're behind. 4-3, Nebraska on top. Is 2,049 in attendance. So Joe Girardi called the largest crowd game in attendance in Oklahoma State history. That's awesome, and certainly now breaks the old record of February, because we just set that on Thursday night, and that's a good-looking crowd. 2,049. The capacity is better. The crowd's good. The opponent is outstanding, and that is made for a great afternoon of softball. And again, that's just a great scene for the sport. And, you know, you put out the plea earlier, hey, 2,049, come on, just across the street.
Yeah.
Come across the street.
I tell you, what a joy for players, though, to be able to play in front of crowds like this. I mean, that was one of the great things about playing in Chicago and Colorado and St. Louis and New York. Full houses every day. It just motivates you as a player, and it keeps you accountable.
Absolutely. And, you know, Coach Ravel told us if imitation is the best form of flattery, I'm trying to build the exact same kind of situation at our field with the outfield decks and the way. And by the way, this is kind of a knockoff initially of Mississippi State in baseball, who did it for all those years. And it is an incredible atmosphere, and Kenny Gajewski's done a great job with that as Godwin takes a called strike, 1-1 from Fromm. But it is a great atmosphere, and I know obviously players are going to respond to that.
And the great other thing is it's on ESPN Plus, and families that can't get here can always watch their children. That's been a thrill for me.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so appreciative.
Yeah. No doubt that has changed the viewing for sure, as that one is hit to the second baseman. Kamenzen throw over to time, and we've got a new first baseman. She came in. Bella Bacon is now at first, as Fromm, of course, is in the circle. That's why we had part of the reason we had the pitch or the hitting change just a minute ago. So Bacon able to make the catch for out number 1. Now to bring up Aubrey Jones, the shortstop.
It'd be time for her to get her arms extended and lift one into the seats.
She's got the power to do it. Batting .356, couple of home runs, and she was swinging for the fence there. Nine hits versus 3, both teams with 3 errors and a 1-run lead for the Huskers. These two teams will do it again tomorrow. Cowgirls play South Dakota State first, then Nebraska. And behind 0-2 here is Aubrey Jones.
What do you think the difference in temperature is where she is today and where she was last year at this time in Upper Michigan?
Well, that goes back to my South Dakota 36 games they open the season. In Brookings, South Dakota, it's hard to play a home game, so they don't play their first one until March 27th. There's 3 big hacks by Jones, but she goes down swinging.
Yeah, and it probably still won't be very warm.
That's probably true as well. It's exactly right. Is just got underneath that prize ball. So 2 gone, Joe. You are going to exit after this one, after this last out. It has been a pleasure. It has been a great joy having the opportunity to sit next to you along with Chris Deal. And this has been fun for both of us, I can promise you.
Well, Casey and Chris, I appreciate you having me. I'm going to go watch my daughter warm up. She just FaceTimed me and asked me if I was coming over. She said, make sure I give her a shout out. Well, she's been watching the game with Sarah, the trainer, and they play in about an hour, and it's time to go win a basketball game and finish this off, win this game in the 7th if you can't take the lead this inning.
Well, you know I'm going to be right behind you. Schneidmiller fouled that one into the dirt. I'll be calling that game on radio, and it's going to be fun. Obviously, baseball's at home. It's electrifying on this campus right now. There's so many great things going on, and all across. The spring is such a special time on all the campuses.
So since this is your job, this is not my really day job, what are you going to do if it goes 11 innings again?
You see that man behind you?
Oh, okay.
He is going
solo.
He is so versatile. He can do it all. As that one is hit back into the backstop. And listen, the way this is going, I would not be shocked at all if we're not going to play a few extras. I've got an hour and 5 minutes to get over there, but this one, you never know. This has been 2 fantastic teams going toe to toe. The slugfest, it could easily get tied up and go into extras.
Joe, my broadcast career has been built on opportunities, and you know, if you guys have to exit, you know, you just got to step up.
We're in good hands. We're in good hands.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Again, if you missed it, Joe Girardi, the former manager of the Yankees, been with us since the 2nd inning, and he's going to slide out of the booth after this inning, but it has been a great joy. Some terrific insight and some great memories, great stories told. As Schneidmiller's ahead of that one. Joe, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. And I just got a text message from Harold Reynolds. Fastest game on dirt. His daughter's going to Oregon next year to play.
That is outstanding. I love the fact who's watching tonight. It's big time. Good stuff. Appreciate it. Take a break. Come back. This is Big 12 softball on ESPN+. To this point, as far as the line score, it was a couple of scoreless innings. The Cowgirls scored 2 on an error. Nebraska answered on a 2-run shot. Cowgirls got the go-ahead with the run in the bottom of the 4th. Another error by Oklahoma State led to 2 more for Nebraska. Now Nebraska with a 4-3 lead. Casey Kendrick along with Chris Dill, and I know you, just like I, thoroughly enjoyed the previous 5 innings with the company we were keeping.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. His prep and, you know, the last 2 days that he's actually been able to commit to doing this, and his knowledge and just picking his brain and hanging out with him, pretty awesome experience.
And to be the game that is going on in front of us in such an important game, and it's been so much fun. And this Cowgirl team's got a little work to do here in the 7th. Got to get out of here clean at the top of the 7th. And then find at least one to extend it in the bottom half. And it's exactly what they did last time up against Nebraska on Thursday night. There's a called strike.
I mean, Malin just has to stick to what works. I mean, she's confident. She has to stay in the circle, finish this thing up, and let's get to the bats and see if they can make something happen like Thursday night.
Farrell, the catcher, behind 1 and 2. Malin has come in and done a good job. Again, the unearned runs. That's what gave Nebraska the lead. And I love the fact, you know, Joe said it, you said it, we've all talked about it. It's not like, again, it's not going to say they've moved all the chips to the middle, but both teams put some chips in the middle today, bringing back their aces as Ruby gets the strikeout right there. They've both shown just how important this game is with the lineup that we've seen as we look at this one.
No question. Ruby dialing it up, and good swing by Farrell, but when you have a confident Ruby Malin in the circle, she's tough to beat.
That'll bring up Casey Hoffman. As Ruby dialed in, got that very good eye black layout that Joe Girardi was so enamored with. He's like, man, they both these two teams, they know what they're doing with the eye black. Is Casey Hoffman, the right fielder, 2 for 3. Watching him around Kenny, watching Kenny around him, you know when people are just different, when they're prepared and they have a different level and you can see their success. Kenny has that. I think Coach Ravel has that. I think Joe Girardi, it's obvious spending short amounts of time with him to know why he was so successful.
His memory, he could just pull things out and situations and people and players, and she swings like this, and whatever. Hoffman here has gone opposite field the last 2 at bats.
Couple of back-to-back singles here, and Ruby runs that one off the plate outside. 1 and 2 off to the 0-2 count. I think that's one of the places I think Ruby's gotten better is when she's ahead by a couple of strikes, an 0-2 count, 1-2 count. That next pitch is not just a throwaway pitch. It's been a believable off the plate pitch. Even though that one was outside, it was pretty good. This one is hit into left field. Warsop there, and a fly out into right field for Hoffman. But that next pitch has been good to me. There's been some strikeout pitches by Ruby when she's ahead 0-2, 1-2.
Yeah, she just can settle in and let it go and let it rip. I mean, she's already in the upper 60s, so when you start running a ball high and let it tail up and climb the ladder, it's hard to lay off of them.
Brings up Ava Cusack. She tries to check swing it, but it's a called strike anyway. Batting .238, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. A couple of home runs, 14 RBI on the season. And she's behind quickly, 0-2. Boy, didn't take Ruby long. Coach did ask her, Joe asked her, he said, how did you feel yesterday? She said, eh. He said, how do you feel today? She goes, I feel great. And she's come in and has pitched it very well. I know she'd love to have one back against Fromm, though. That fastball, that one's a little less believable, what I was just talking about. Her 0-2 pitches have been really good. That one was obviously clearly high and out of the zone. Cusack knew to stay off of that one, and a 1-2 pitch coming up. Swing and a miss. Another one out of the zone. And that'll end the top of the 7th. The Cowgirls trailing by 1. Got some work to do in the home half of the bottom of the 7th here in Cowgirl Stadium as we continue with Big 12 softball on ESPN+. A 1-run win today. They have the 1-run lead, and again, this has been a well-played game. Cowgirls, though, need some production. The crowd's coming to life, but they got to do it with the bottom of the order.
Yeah, it's the time now. You got Jones leading off in the 8th spot, Warsop, and you live for opportunities, and this is it. I mean, we watched on Thursday night. Put the ball in play, see what happens.
This is what happened in that game, and the Cowgirls were able to extend the game and win it in 11. Right now, they're just trying to find one run to extend it. Jones's day today, 1 for 2, had that RBI double, so she's been part of the production again today.
You need to be able to roll this lineup over and give yourself a chance.
That one misses outside, 2-0.
It starts with base runners.
You know, Joe Girardi's Rolodex, people calling and texting him during the broadcast. You said this beautifully, you know. When we broadcast games, Mom, hey, I heard you. You're not loud enough.
Yeah.
You know, you need to. Did you say that?
Yeah, mom, sisters,
cousins,
family members, we love you.
Harold Reynolds. For all we know, Joe Torre was texting him as well, and maybe Aaron Judge. Hey, Coach, hey, Skip, I was listening to you. I love it.
Little different directory contact book, but it's all good.
I love it. He is such a good guy, down to earth. And Lena Girardi, again, a freshman on the Cowgirl basketball team. The part I love about this, it's a different sport, but he could talk to any team. He could talk to the equestrian team and make it relatable to his experiences. And these kids have been so attentive to listen when he's had the chance to speak to any of them. 2-2. Jones fouls that one off. Good job right there to keep the AB alive.
I think even the horses would listen if he was over there. I mean, I was just dialed in with everything he said. He was just, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable, the prep and just the way his mind functions. And
the career that he has had, one of the things he told this Cowgirl team, again, he had to over-prepare. And they probably need to do the same thing. Did not go around. Count goes full, 3-2. A big relief there for the home crowd and upsetedness for the Nebraska crowd. The other part I loved what he told them is he said, and we say it all the time, you know it, I know it, these are the best years of your life. Enjoy every single minute. One of the young ladies asked him as that time out in front got her off for the off speed. Finish that thought in a minute.
3 straight strikeouts.
So one of the young ladies asked him, what would your older self tell your younger self, as you see again just out in front of that one by Jones. And he said, I enjoy it, have fun. I had to work so hard to be what I was that sometimes I didn't stop to enjoy it. And saw a lot of head nods going, yeah, that sounds like great advice. It's one of the things, though, these two teams have shown is a lot of joy playing this game. Is Worsup looking for that first hit today. Reached on his fielder's choice. She was one of the 2 that scored on the error. Missed on that one. And Fromm, just like Ruby, very much dialed in here in relief.
Had some shadows creeping on the infield. Like Worsup have a chance to put the ball in place and play and get down to first.
Yeah, especially if she gets it on the right side. There's a lot of sun issues over there. And that was a called strike 1 and 2. Keep in mind there was a call at third with Worsup. Had she not gotten down the line, the game would have been over, but it was a challenge. She did beat the throw on a bobble by Camden. That one is fouled down the first base side. The play was overturned. She ended up being the game-tying run off the hit from Schneidmiller. And that's how they extended it. They've been in this situation against Nebraska already in the last couple of days. 1-2 here, though, to Worsup outside. Ball 2. Every pitch, everybody's hanging on every pitch. That's the atmosphere we're in right now, and that's what makes this so much fun.
The Oklahoma State fans, I mean, they just have come out today, record crowd, postseason atmosphere.
Swing and a miss for another strikeout, and yeah, 2,049 strong. A new record as Fromm has yet another strikeout. And just a terrific pitch. Slightly underneath it is Worsup. So we go to the top of the order, and the last AB potentially for Oklahoma State, the freshman from Owasso. J.L. Austin takes strike 1, the center fielder. Again, looking for her first hit of the day. Does have the walk and a couple of Ks. Trying to give the Cowgirls a chance. 4 home runs on the season. She could tie it up with 1 swing, too. The wind has changed direction. It was blowing right to left. Now it's now it's blowing left to right. Maybe that's advantageous to Austin. The wind really not a factor, though, as far as the ball leaving the yard. Pitchers have done a good job keeping it down in the zone. Rise ball misses.
I like Austin's approach at the plate. She doesn't give up on balls. She's just dialed in every pitch. Her stance is nice.
2-1 the count. And yeah, Kenny Gajewski talking to Joe about her specifically when she was in the cage, like she's going to be a stud. You know, Joe kept talking about her on-base percentage, but can hit with power. And he's like, man, you just look at her, the way she swings it. You tell she's got the proper mechanics. She's going to hit for power, going to be a very good player. And there it is. Inside out swing goes to left field and will be held to a single, but that keeps the Cowgirls alive here in the bottom of the 7th.
Keeps the Cowgirls alive, but wakes up the crowd. Just perfect swing down on it, inside out to left. And that ball was hit hard.
4-3, the Cowgirls have a base runner. And guess who's coming up? Young lady that ended the ball game in walk-off fashion in 11. Could do the same thing here if she were to leave the yard again. And I think Fromm knew it. It came with the off-speed pitching backwards, trying to get her out front one, and she does. Rosie Davis, the third baseman, who it has a chance. She was hitless the other night, 0 for 4, and went over the batter's eye. Would love to have another walk-off here. That one misses, 1-1. Good discipline right there. That ball looked pretty close.
You don't think Fromm knew what she was doing, starting her off with the off speed?
Coach Ravel told us again just the fact that Fromm knows what she wants from her. That one misses, 2-1. And, you know, there's a little bit of pride. I want to get this young lady out who ended the game against us the other day. But there's also going to be a level of being careful here too, right?
No question. I mean, and take care of each pitch. Make sure you don't give it up again.
Swing that time early, fouled it down the left side, and it's 2-2.
A discipline at the plate for Davis. Not to get fooled on something here.
If she does get on, you would have runners at first and second. And that tying run in scoring position. Here's the 2-2. Up and out of the zone, 3-2. Of course, we're going to get a full count pitch. Why wouldn't we?
2 outs. You know Austin will be on the move.
Well, Fromm, interesting. Coach said she should have done that. Joe Girardi said she should have done that the other day when she threw the one in the dirt. This time she does back off, clears her head. 3-2 coming up, 2 gone. 1 on. And that one is fouled up. The catcher's got it, and that's how this one is going to come to an end. Another terrific game between the number 4 and the number 16 team in the country, and it's all knotted up. Great job by Nebraska, hanging in there, persevering, overcome adversity early.
Yeah, season high errors for both teams, but Nebraska comes up with the timely hitting from Fromm, gets it done, and sets up a big Game 3 tomorrow. It
does indeed. The Cowgirls have South Dakota State in the middle, but a split 3-game series coming up, the rubber match tomorrow as Nebraska gets their revenge. A 1-run win over the Cowgirls, 4-3. And both teams will be excited about coming back to the ballpark on Sunday. Cowgirls capitalized on errors. So did Nebraska, but that shot right there by Toms gave them great life. Terrific game. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate Joe Girardi. What an honor to have him here in the booth. For Chris Steele, I'm Casey Kendrick. See you next time for Big 12 Softball on ESPN+.